I would love to put a video on Leo Varadkar and put him into a pair of scrubs and watch him for the day.
Well, the really disappointing thing is that Leo is a doctor and he worked within the service.
He knows.
You know,
That's it, he knows. Yeah.
He knows. And here, let's be straight. I think the stuff that he's given, the reckless comments that he's came out and said about you guys and stuff like that, he just...
Like, we're not entitled to holidays at Christmas. You know, it's inequality.
This is it.
It's all it is inequality.
And from Leo, that would have literally got a huge push towards the country's support, towards equality.
And the amount of nurses that would have supported him in his career as a doctor, it's a teamwork in healthcare.
And then even in the referendum for same-sex marriages, it was a huge equality thing in this country. I think Ireland is like the flag for equality in the...
It's the same for women's rights. You know, last year we came huge. And like, nursing is a female-dominated profession, so you could argue a feminist point if you wanted to see why our nurses... If it was a male-dominated profession, I don't think nurses would have sat back for as long.
That's a good point.
That's
a great point, you know, that, because I think lads would probably be that, like...
Definitely.
They'd be more aggressive about it.
Girls had a lot more patience, let's be honest. Yeah, they were much more, and probably would have went the wrong way about. But here's another thing that the same. So, in between this, you're struggling in the idea of trying to live on that wage as you are. That's the way I'd say. Look, it's hard. Like, I find it hard. I have a few little things going, but still, it's not easy in this country. My girlfriend's from Liverpool, so I get a good, like, equivalent of what it is in the house. So I'm saying this and that. She's like, well, if we were in Liverpool, it wouldn't be this. And she goes on, but she's dead right. Buying houses, not the HSE, what's it, the NHS over there. Yeah, so them, like, everything, the way the doctors are paid for, it's just a good system to be working for. So why wouldn't an Irish nurse want to get out of all of this craziness and head over? Because you have been there, so you have seen the difference.
There's pros and cons to both, I suppose. There's a different quality in both services. I think it's more accessible in the NHS. But
appreciated, I think, is a huge currency in the part of wages as well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So they bring the appreciation of what you have to do. Give us a one day. So give us a day and what you do.
So in the emergency department, you could be working in triage, where people come in and they're initially assessed by a nurse. So when you ring an ambulance, you come to hospital and the paramedic hands you over to a nurse the majority of the time, and that nurse assesses you and gives you a priority in terms of when you should be seen by the doctor, because every patient can't be seen as soon as they arrive. So it's actually nurses that decide how sick people are in the majority of cases, which is a huge responsibility. If that nurse makes a mistake, somebody could die. If that nurse puts the wrong person into the waiting room, that person could die. So you could be there for 13 hours, you might assess 40 to 50 people, and you'd assign them a category, check their blood pressure, do some first aid, maybe give them a painkiller, and then assign them to the waiting room or hand them over to a nurse to observe them until they're seen. So that would be triage. And then in the resus room, Sarah could talk you through a day in the resus room that could be anything and everything.
So the resus room contains patients that are acutely unwell, typically requiring intensive care level treatment. So that could be patients on a ventilator, patients that are not able to breathe themselves. So we're responsible for ensuring their safety. We technically should only be really looking after one patient that is as unwell as that, but we usually would only have 3 nurses looking after 7 patients. So it doesn't work out like that. So yeah, we can have, as I say, up to 7 patients critically unwell. They might be there for a whole day waiting to go to a high dependency area, because at the moment we have a problem with beds, nowhere to put people. We'll start them off on their treatment. We'll give them everything that they need, but until they have somewhere to go, they're under our care. And that puts extra pressure on us, because all the while people are still coming in to triage, they're still presenting unwell, requiring treatment, and we may not necessarily have places to put them.
And then in the main department, you have everything and anything. So you come into the emergency department with any manner of emergency. It could be somebody with a stubbed finger, or it could be somebody who's having a heart attack. And emergency nursing, it's a very varied and challenging environment, and there's a lot of challenging environments within the healthcare, but for myself and Sara, emergency is where we work, and it is particularly challenging. But nurses work within all sorts of specialist areas with very advanced skills and knowledge, and we feel that knowledge and skills should be paid appropriately.
And it's so wearing down on you, it's like, because I'll tell you a little story real quick. This year my mum, she wasn't well. Actually, both of her lungs collapsed in A&E. So we were there, and she was like, she was dying. Yeah. So the guy turned around to me and said, listen, we have to put her on the ventilation straight away. And we said, listen, is she going to live? And he's, I don't know. Like, literally just looking at me, I don't know. And I could see her in his face. He went off, and to be honest, I was kind of like, he didn't really care. Do you get what I mean? And now she was getting put onto ventilation in A&E. She wasn't in an ICU unit. She wasn't in a high dependency unit or anything like that. Now, I won't say I know a lot of the machines, but I know that at a mixed martial arts event, so an MMA event, we have to have the equivalent of an ICU unit set up in the background. So someone could be put onto ventilation there and then, and all this. And it's just, Ireland's the safest place to do mixed martial arts in the world. People wouldn't be there, but it's a great flag that we have in the community. But it's, from when I'm saying to this guy, hold on, you're going to put her onto ventilation here. And a lot of the machines weren't there. The machine that would have been measuring her heart rate was out from an ambulance. It was like a battery machine, and it was like, so I put my mother on the ventilation here, and the guy is kind of literally saying to me outside, like, we've done all we can here, and the idea is that there's not enough. Like, I'm like, why don't you bring her to an ICU unit? He's like, there is none, mate. Basically, and then the nurse that was at the start told me, he came back to me about 20 minutes later, and he said, listen, I just want to apologise, because maybe I was a little bit too brash there when I was saying that to you, but I am so busy, mate. And he explained to me that, listen, your man will be fine. We're looking for an ICU unit. We got to go this way, we got to go that way, and if something comes through, I'll personally find out myself. And I was a little bit annoyed at the guy at the start, but I remember actually feeling guilty when he came back to me, because I was like, I can imagine the amount of things that he's had to do between now and then. And not even that, I don't deal too well with death, right? Death in anybody, whether it's animals, whether it's people, whether it's also, you guys deal with death every single day, especially in a resuscitation unit. And my fear of that would be, if we was a nurse or a doctor or something like that, would be becoming numb to it, would becoming the idea of no death. You know what I mean?
I think it's one of the most privileged things you do as a nurse, is look after somebody and their family at the end of their life, and it's something we see a lot in the emergency department, but it's something nurses deal with in a lot of the areas of the hospital. But in the Mater, around a third of the patients in the hospital that die in the emergency department, and looking after them, you know, and trying to make them better. And then if you don't, sometimes they do die. But if looking after their family afterwards can be incredibly challenging, but it's a huge privilege, I think, to look after somebody at such a pivotal point in their life. And doing something small can make that experience a little bit better for the family. And you give such an amount of yourself to those situations. And like, again, we're not looking for anything special for that. You know, having that compassion, having that patience and time, and giving some of yourself, because you're human at the end of the day, and everybody's affected differently. But ultimately, it's very hard for a nurse to give themselves if they feel undervalued, and we feel undervalued by this government because we're paid less than our colleagues are in the same service, and it all comes back to equality. And if you don't pay somebody, you're going to make them feel like they're less important, and eventually people will start to behave like they're less important, and that's what we really don't want, because nursing has really progressed in this country, and in turn the patient care has improved and progressed, and we want to keep that momentum up. But if you don't value your staff, they're not going to keep that momentum up. No nurse wants to cause harm. So, and maybe that's going to be why we'll never, you know, why it's going to take a lot longer to get where we need to get, because nurses will always provide care that's
I think
required.
In this negotiation, that's going to be the rootless part of it, because the rootless part of it is going to be they probably will push how far yous will push, but they'll never end up in A&E in Tally or in the Mater Hospital or something like that. Like,
you never know.
No. If Leo gets sick, I guarantee you it's a helicopter coming for him, Cian.
Yeah, but you know, the nursing meet won't differentiate. Do you know, as in they will treat him just as they would anybody else.
Oh, 100%. But you know, he won't be queuing in A&E. So as I said, a lot of these problems, these guys, they'll never ever experience what we're moaning about them, because they'll never ever experience them. Like, their grannies will not have experienced this, probably, you know. It's very rare that you'll get somebody that's the top of our country now that came from nothing. and that's it. And I think that's the problem. I think if people have to live in the class to usually some of the most genuine people, I think, and most honest people that are people that have been hurt or broken and stuff like that, and the people that really care. I think when it comes to a little situation where like you're either in the club or you're not in the club, and it's about making money, and it's about moving forward in the best business way, and like they're failing and they're failing you guys. But I have to say, you guys are heroes standing up for you. You know, at the time now he's see it like, oh, hold on, it's because there's no doubt he's in a sticky situation. It's your qualification, it's your career, but you guys are lighting a torch for a lot of other people. There's so many people out there that are looking up at you now and admiring what you are doing, because it's not easy to stand against like, oh, your bosses, or because you know that like even when it is all right, and we remember that time behind closed doors. So what you are doing is an extremely brave movement, and I really think people are going to follow you out. I can see the guards out with you soon, and the fire brigade, and I know you've got loads of support out on the picket lines.